Good morning, all. With this lesson, we try to give a picture as complete as possible of all the most common errors that may occur during the creation phase. And to do this, we will use the different indication that the source tool give us so you will understand the most important of having it activated immediately. Using it is very simple. Insert the URL of the page to be checked. The tool will give us an answer that will help us to evaluate the status of the page. If there are errors, the tool will give us instruction on how to set up our template so that we can correct it. And then try again a new analysis so long as there will be virtually perfect answer that we remember to be this. When you have a response like this is perfect. What does it mean? Then practically the three tags that interest us are perfect because they are in quantity 1 and the relative placeholder was correctly printed. Your template SEO will be ready to be used in phase of generation, that is the successive phase that we will see and understand better later. When we will be in the generation setting, just remember in this section when the tool asks you the title of the page in which tag is enclosed to indicate the right option, that is this. In neither of them. In summary, it means that the name of your page is not printed by the default from your WordPress in neither of the two main tags. At this point, there will be nothing left. Paste in here the HTML code that you have prepared in a template page, copying it from the text and not from the visual to proceed with the project. We will tackle this on the next lesson separately. Let's see the common errors that we must avoid, which is the bottom line of this lesson. As you can see, the answer is perfect. However, if we read, we have an error. We can read that if the tag H1 and H2 are unique and correct because they are in the quantity 1, but the placeholders have not been found even if you are visualizing them. Where is the error? Simply, we are writing in the placeholder in lowercase. So, let's go back to our template and save it in capital letters. Try again the analysis with the source and everything will be perfect. Another anomaly, because we are speaking not about a mistake, is this. There are many WordPress templates that manage, for example, the H1 field by default, associating it with a page name. What does this mean in practical terms? That every time we create a page in WordPress, this page will already have its own H1, which is the same name of the page. In this case, the answer will be what you see. Alert! I found two H1 and one of these is called the name of the page, template SEO. It is therefore not a mistake. Rather, it is a very common case. When it happens, you simply have to remember to do two things. When you go to compile the window to identify the position of this tag, you should indicate that it is already default printed on the page, so choose this option, H1. And if present in the page name, we'll have to remember to delete the HTML string that contains the placeholder H1 because we don't need cause it managed by your WordPress. In summary, with respect to before, we should only print the placeholder of H2 and the paragraph. Less frequent and very similar to this case is the following. The exact same behavior but not for the H1 field but for the H2 field. The answer we get will therefore be the following. An alert in H2 field tells us that the tags in questions are two, and one of them has the name of the page template SEO. The management process is the same as in the previous case. When we proceed with the project, we will have to remember to indicate that the H2 field is present by default in our template to choose this option, H2. Just a reminder to delete the HTML string that contains the H2 placeholder because it is already managed originally by the template. With these two last cases studies, we have seen how to deal all the different WordPress templates. Now let's look at the common errors that we will see and encounter when creating the template SEO. The errors on the tag H1 and H2 have a greater detection than those on the paragraph. Therefore, it is also the reason for which we analyze them separately. For example, this is an important and serious mistake, whether it happens only in H1 rather than only in H2 or both. What is the source function telling us? That we have more than one tags present in the source code of your template, and therefore we lose the univocity of main tags that makes semantic communication perfect. The tool always points out to us which are the extra tags that we have found, and this will make it easy for us to identify them in the template to change their class. So let's take one example. If initially this tag is a H2, do not delete it. Simply change the class by associating it with a tag that is usually used to divide in a semantic calculation. Identifying it in the source code as div, that is the HTML code of divided. Doing it very simple, you just need a browser. We recommend Firefox to work online in order to test the changes to be made in the CSS style of your WordPress. There are also many courses that we teach how to handle CSS in WordPress. We also have in a depth section in the advanced course that helps you to understand how to best handle CSS style to create perfect page templates if you want. Lastly, the error that is very similar to this: the presence of a multiple paragraphs on a template page. A common case when your WordPress managed the footer in an incorrect way. In this regards, you will find more than one paragraph. You can do exactly as done previously. Identify which paragraphs are thanks to the fact that you see them as identified by source. Click the class into div. Our advice, if the placeholder text is in front of everyone and you are not familiar with the management of your source code, it is better to leave them as is and do not worry. When the placeholder of the text is in the lead, it will also be the first to be read by the spider. Now that you have seen what are the most common mistakes to avoid, you also have to understand the importance of having the source function in use right away. A very precise and fast instrument that helps and facilitate a lot of work in this first phase. Enhance your knowledge and grab the opportunity to do all the analysis you want on all the pages you desired. Thank you for your attention and see you to the next lesson to explain how to set up WordPress. Thank you.